Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today is Thursday. It is May 15, 2025, and I'm going to be pulling some cards today before I go into the meditation. I'm still using the Gilded Tarot. I feel drawn to this as opposed to the dream cards because I think there's a lot of real life issues going on in these dreams now that I didn't realize before. And while that seems like almost a dream type thing, there is still something to be said with going into the meditations with that there's more of a message in there as opposed to a dreamlike stance. So I'm using the tarot cards. So these are from Ciro Marchetti. This is the Gilded Tarot, which I absolutely love. This deck is so beautiful. The artwork, even the devil card looks nice. I mean, these are beautifully done. These cards are just beautiful artwork all the way around. And I just think that it's kind of interesting that I am so drawn to these cards. I've never felt that drawn to a deck as I do to this one. And I think that this is really the one that's teaching me tarot in a more profound way. I think that I'm remembering the cards a little bit better. The images are a little bit more defined, that I can determine what the images mean, what they're saying, and yeah. So that's why I'm using these cards. Okay, give it another shuffle. Okay. And so I always wait for my guides to tell me if I should stop or continue or what have you. So the card that I got for today is the Two of Cups. And this is a card that I've pulled before. And it is in regard to the longing, the desire, the love that two people have towards each other. And not sure how this fits in with the meditation, but I will keep the card to the side here, and then after I read through the meditation, there might be some insights that come to me with regards to this particular card. That is generally how I do the meditations and how I do the cards. I don't always know when I pull the cards what they mean or what the meaning behind them is, but as I read, the meaning comes to me, the ideas come to me, the guides kind of tell me what it is I need to know or why this is so significant. So, with that said, I'm going to put this aside and I'm going to start the meditation. So we are on day number 12. It's May 15th, 2025, and the title of this is Strange Tasks. And so when I woke up this morning, I felt as though I had been watching a movie play out. In many of my dreams, they feel this way. I'm watching them play out as opposed to actively participating in them. Does that make any sense? And Metatron says, indeed it does. A dream is sometimes going to be a lesson or a parable that you are seeing play out. There are moments in them that feel like aha moments, and you sometimes feel like there's a convoluted plot playing out. You must determine the outcome through observations as opposed to active participation. I said, yeah. Like last night's dream, it was about two guys who were meeting up with each other. One came from Europe or some other place, and the other was from North America. I'm thinking that this is far removed place. At any rate, in the dream, one of the guys is looking for a van or mobile home. The other guy has one, but it is full of asbestos. I'm left to conclude that the van or mobile home is more or less a deterrence than it is a gift. That there is far more problems to it than solutions. Could this be the issue about the plane that we've been hearing so much about in the last few days in the news? And Metatron said, I would say it most definitely is. The airplane that is being given away is more or less an outdated piece of junk. I said, so like the notion of one man's trash being another man's treasure. And Metatron says that is exactly. You see, the whole idea with the plane is not a question or a notion to give the people the means to freak out, but instead the notion is that the object in question has more problems to it than solutions. If the guy in your dream was an expert in getting rid of asbestos, then yes, this would be something he could easily restore and upgrade or upcycle. But the item has more problems than solutions, and you are basically dealing with an idea that may, in fact, not reap any desired results at all. The comment that your husband made about it was spot on. He said that the plane years, this thing was an old clunker. Consider, too, that not the walls lined with asbestos is more or less a metaphor for something far deeper with regards to it. You notice that oftentimes an old house or building would probably ensue more cost to have it or time to renovate it than it would be to simply tear it down and start again. The whole concept of it is to try and put oneself into the idea that a place or thing loses its value as it decays. That is why no one should worry too much about the plane. It's an old airplane. It is in ill repair and will cost more to refurbish it than to buy a new one. Does that sound familiar? I said yes. When I was taking my flute to the repair shop to get some repairs done on it, I kept thinking, this is a 40-year-old flute that cost $300 back in the day. I didn't think much of it. I just knew that I needed something to play in our ensemble. So I went in there thinking, how much would it cost to repair this old thing or have it overhauled? The guy's expression upon looking at it was rather incredulous, to say the least. He looked at me with arched eyebrows and said, it would cost $700 to fix this, or 700 euros to fix this flute, which is about $750 to $800. That is a lot of money for a 40-something-year-old instrument that I played back when I was in school. I was shocked by this revelation. I mean, the repairs would cost far more than the actual value of the instrument. I opted to asking him what he would suggest I do. He said, get a new flute. His shop sold them for 669 euros, which is less than the repair, so when I left the shop, I had a brand new shiny flute in my possession. I started practicing, and I practiced every day. And today I play far better than I ever did before. It was, in essence, before, when I had the old flute, a chore to practice. But today I'm loving it. As I get better able to read the music without outwardly thinking A flat, B flat, C, A, B, C, and what have you, I'm just letting it happen. Metatron says, and you just explained through your own experience the story with regard to this plane. The act of getting this up to standards will require many repairs. And the act of refurbishing the interior in the style that this overly tacky individual prefers would cost a lot of money. You see this as you have a new flute. Your dream is about a man who gets a new RV and has to go out and remove the poisons and toxins from it. That is what you are seeing through your dream. Yet, things can be repaired, sure. You can get a sense of enjoyment in watching a rug get cleaned or a piece of furniture get refurbished. But the act of doing these things brings a sense of enjoyment to the individual who takes them and cleans and refurbishes them to their specifications. That is the difference. Do you believe that the people who will renovate this plane from plain to tacky will get joy out of doing this? Probably not. They'll just get a lot of money for it. This is what the dream was about. You were watching two guys discuss whether or not taking on the task of cleaning or refurbishing something is truly worth their efforts in doing so. Similarly to the man who would have charged you $700 or 700 euros to refurbish your flute. You both knew the answer at the same moment. It is not worth the effort. You could keep the old flute and use it when you feel like it, but you knew that the act of fixing it up was simply not worth it. It was not worth it for the repairman, and it's certainly not worth it for you, the customer. I said, so what will happen with that plane? And Metatron says nothing. The plane will ultimately be scrapped. The parts that were useful will be taken apart, and the bulk of it will probably be scrapped or upcycled as planters or metal fences. I said at least he can be content that it might be used for his stupid wall. I guess it will never occur to him that bridges are far better than walls when it comes to diplomacy. Metatron said, so you do see, and the aspects of your dream that is significant also remain with you. I said, yes, but still it seems to me that the overall idea of just trashing things seems to be a bit off-putting. And Metatron says, how so? I said, well, ecologically, we have so much garbage and landfills. People try to upcycle what they can, but it seems as though we just create more garbage. And Metatron says, this is changing. People are minimalizing their stuff. Look at you. You have a lot of stuff. But how often do you buy new things? I said, not very often. Metatron says, you are learning by not buying much stuff that simple things are better. The things you do buy are simple things that you use and love, but not in the sense of just buying things to buy things. This is why it is that you, as you get older, you have more and more things. Over time, you collect things, but you do not add so much to your collection because in your mind, the truth is you have enough. This is why it's becoming easier for you to not buy so much stuff. You know that there's enough. More and more people are doing that. They are gaining joy in just casting off things that they don't need and refurbishing things that they do have. That is why you are pleased. You are pleased with what you have. Your husband put it best when speaking of the plane. It is an old clunker. It will cost more to redo it than it's worth. Yes, it may have been worth that much money when new, but imagine it were a car. You bought a €6,000 car back in 2002. How much did you get back for it in 2019 when you traded it in? I said, we got €150 deduction off another €6,000 car. Okay, I see what you're saying here. The plane is 10 years old, and while it was worth $400 million as a new plane, it has lost much of its value. But it still does not diminish the fact that this is a bribe. And Metatron says, yes, a bribe. And the opinion of the people based on it will have some impact on what eventually happens. So just watch the space. The asbestos that was in your dream may in fact be lesser of the problems that could lay bare in this particular scenario. I said, in other words, it could be more trouble than it's worth. And Metatron says, there you go. That is the meaning of this and your dream. It may seem like a significant thing, but ultimately it will not end as those men expect. I said, okay, I guess all we can do is watch them play out. So thank you. Metatron says, anytime. Just remember that there are often underlying meanings, even in real-world events, and those may not seem clear to you at the time they happen. But then there will always be some sort of consequences involved. That is the way that the universe works. It does so now, and it will be so in 100 years from now. The people are simply impatient as they wait. I said, I remember you saying some time ago that the universe does not work on Yvette Standard Time. Metatron says, yes, that is the way. But don't lose heart. In time, karma will kick in, and you will have that 10 of Cups moment. I said, I'll try to remember that. Thank you. So here we are with the 2 of Cups. Not yet the 10 of Cups, but the 2 of Cups. And what I see is acceptance, love. And maybe this involves also the idea of having items of your own and saying, okay, I appreciate what I have, and I'm grateful for what I have. Do I need more? I don't know. I don't think so. Or maybe, yeah, a little bit, or, whatever it is. But this is what everybody is faced with, I think, at this juncture when it comes to obtaining some new item. there's this novelty that comes with it where it says, okay, we're going to be happy that we have this item and it's so cool and it's so great. And then you have to set about to repairing it and you realize maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all. I think we've all been in that position where we've thought, okay, this may not be working as we anticipated. There's a little bit of a blue, we call it Blauaugisch here in Germany, and it basically what it means is you're seeing things through rose-colored glasses, and you're seeing this as this wonderful, awesome thing, and yet you end up with something other than what you anticipated, something other than that loving, that kindness, that gentility, that feeling that this card implies. And here we have the King of Swords. And the King of Swords, I have to look that one up because I don't remember. So let me get the book out here. Okay, here we go. King of Swords. Oh, this is the Queens. I need the Kings. Where are the Kings? Oh, that's the Knight. Okay, so I have to go this way. Okay, King of Swords. The King of Swords' throne sits in the element of air. His sword is permanently displayed, and he appears to be deep in thought. The King of Swords has a cool, detached air, which makes him rather difficult to fathom, a sense of still waters run deep, which can make him intriguing. Usually he is strong with an easy air of authority and just nature. He is a rational man with analytical thinking who prefers logic to emotion and likes clear-set rules. Emotionally, he can appear misleading, for although he tends not to make great shows of public emotion, as a partner he's strong and loyal to his loved ones and takes his responsibility seriously. And it says this king is also often found as an in-uniform police officer in the military and law or government enforcement agency or the prison or security officer. In fact, in any area of law or discipline. So I think that since this is in the second position, then maybe what the King of Swords is a cross with this. This is in accepting a plane. This is the cross. This is who he is coming up against. The law, the rules, the way things are supposed to be. Will this play out? Nobody really knows. But the fact is that this character here is at the second position in the tarot reading, which is what it's crossed with. So this may be the obstacle that he has to overcome in order to obtain his beloved plane. So while we sit here and grumble about whether or not this is actually legal or right or whatever, the King of Swords is right there saying, no, this isn't right, this isn't legal, and we're going to step in and we're going to say something about it. Which maybe that is why we don't need to worry about all of this. Maybe we need to concentrate our efforts on something else. So I'm going to pull another card and hopefully they'll be able to read it. And I get the Empress again. Rebirth. Once this guy acts, we got this. Changes are coming. Changes are going to be made because she's going to make sure of it. And he may not like it, but that's what's going to happen. He's not going to like this at all. These cards are not good for him. They're great for us because we want justice and we want what's right. And here's the Seven of Cups. This is chaos. This is the choices that everybody's going to have to make with regards to this. How are we going to choose? Which cup is the best, most appealing cup to us? How's this going to work out? We don't know. But what we do know is that there's a lot of stuff going on in the world and a lot of stuff in the news, and this is just another distraction for us. And what we need to do is focus on the fact that this is just a distraction. So our final outcome, the Ten of Wands. Whatever happens, this guy's got a lot to carry. He's going to be carrying a lot of stuff. And maybe we just should not worry about it because it's not our battle to wage. It's not our fight. It's his. So that's what I got. So I don't know if that's the correct way of reading the cards, but that's what my energies are telling me. That's what I'm getting from my guides, that this is not over. This issue is not done and dusted, but it is a question whether or not this is going to be an outcome that he wants. And I think these cards are more or less about him and not about us, or not about me in the sense of this dream. This dream was something that I was observing. It was not something that I was actively a part of. But the message in it is clear. Sometimes it costs far more to refurbish something that is beyond repair than it is to just pick up the phone and call and buy a new one. So that's where I am at with all of this. Hopefully I don't have to do any more discussions about planes and corrupt presidents and what have you. But I think that is important to note on, because it was in the dream about the asbestos in the wall. And chances are that's probably the meaning behind all of it, is that I was thinking about this, and this is what the message from my guides and angels are. So thanks to Metatron for the insight, and for reminding me that, yeah, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and buy something new, even if you're thinking, oh, I would like to refurbish what I have. Sometimes it comes about that way. So I wish you a wonderful day. I know I've babbled on long enough about all of this, and so I'm done for the day with babbling on, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, and as always, namaste.